Welcome to Business Made Accessible, an online course on international marketing made specifically for faculty who teach business language and culture.
The course was made possible by the Center for International Business Education and Research at the George Washington University, the GW Cyber, funded by the Department of Education.
Your hosts for this course are myself, Margaret Gunglewski, faculty in the German program in GW's College of Arts and Sciences.
And me, Anna Helm, a faculty member in International Business in GW's School of Business. As a team, we aim to help business language faculty be better empowered and knowledgeable in business content, frameworks, and teaching approaches. We have jointly done work on teaching with business cases as well as green business.
The point of this project is to educate business language faculty in specific business-related areas that are particularly suitable to teaching in the business language classroom.
In this introductory presentation, you'll take away a few key definitions, starting with the definition of marketing itself, as well as the breadth of the components of marketing, and finally, an overview of the complexity of international marketing.
While you're taking in the new concepts, you should be constantly reflecting on the information and applicability to your own language teaching context. Let's launch right into this and talk about a definition of marketing. As a non-business professional, I always assumed that marketing was just another way of saying advertising. But I've learned that it's far more complex. Advertising is really just one small piece of the pie.
Here's an official definition from the American Marketing Association.
Marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large.
Notice that marketing includes a wide variety of activities and processes, and the impact goes well beyond the individual end consumer to multiple other stakeholders.
I really like this image because it drives home exactly how advertising really is just one of several components of marketing. As a layperson, when I look at the components, most of them make sense in how they'd fit into marketing, like public relations, community involvement, and even customer support, probably since those are the areas that I, as a consumer, am exposed to regularly. But other components are less obvious.
That's true, Margaret. As consumers, we might not consider pricing and distribution to be part of marketing, for example. But imagine how critical it is that the price is right for the products we buy. Companies have to set a price that matches the perceived quality of the product. Likewise, the venue where it's being sold has to reflect the level of quality of the product. A luxury brand company like Armani wouldn't want to place their product at Walmart at a reduced price. It would dilute the value of their brand.
The model also shows how marketing is integrated into practically everything a company does. A component like pricing, which seems purely financial, is integral to successful marketing.
Imagine how all this comes into play in various international markets. Take a U.S. multinational company like Lay's potato chips. When this company enters into international markets such as China and France, they will have to consider which flavors would appeal to target populations there. This dilemma is at the core of international marketing. In order to stay uniform and streamlined, companies prefer to standardize as much as possible. However, it can be critical to adapt in order to stay relevant to local consumers, even though it can be expensive.
As language teachers, we always keep an eye out for these kinds of adaptations because they strike us as weird if you think about the familiar U.S. product, but they make sense for the culture that we teach.
Now that we've seen how multifaceted marketing is in general, let's dig into some specific examples of how it becomes even more complex when we take our marketing activities across borders.
Over the next few slides, we're going to go over some of the major factors that add to the complexity of international marketing. Keep in mind that all of these factors would have to be assessed by a company when entering into a new market. The three categories shown here relate to the macro environment of international marketing, so the political, legal, and economic context, and the socio-cultural environment.
One example in this area relates to legal factors. Consider the different regulations and implementation of intellectual property laws in different countries. Companies venturing into the Chinese market will have to face the challenge of piracy and copyright infringements that are prevalent and appear acceptable in the culture. On top of that, enforcement of any intellectual property laws is minimal at best. Marketers also have to navigate different levels of market maturity and infrastructure development. For market research, when you want to do a marketing survey, you have to consider whether people have telephones in their homes, computers, or computer access. Even something as basic as the literacy rate affects market research. In certain regions in Africa, Asia, and South America, the use of mail service is low because many people can't read or respond to written surveys.
With the factor of consumer behavior, companies have to consider the way that consumers in a different culture make purchasing decisions. Their values dictate the preferences they have in terms of buying a product or service. Now, a later installment in this online course is devoted exclusively to this fascinating topic.
Here are a few more factors. Market entry options is about how a company goes into a new market abroad. Would you do it with a local partner or using another strategic partnership, or as a wholly owned subsidiary? The very nature of a competition in a country also plays a crucial role in how a company would approach the market.
So, Anna, what about currencies and financial climate? How do they impact marketing?
Currencies fluctuate, and this is tricky for marketers. They have to constantly monitor currencies because ultimately this has an effect on what price they can charge and how the company can position itself vis-a-vis competitors.
Thanks for listening to the introduction to our online course on international marketing. This project was funded by the GW Cyber, the George Washington University Center for International Business Education and Research. Funding for All Cybers is provided by the U.S. Department of Education through the Title VI grant program to increase and promote the nation's capacity for international understanding and economic enterprise.